is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
You know, some whack job can say this stuff and get away with it?
We have the best femur, and it's the greatest femur, and nobody ever saw such a tremendous and huge femur, believe me. I have no idea what they do or who they are, but people come to me, they say, "Sir, you have such an enormous femur." I say, "Thank you." A hosepipe ban begins today in Yorkshire as the third heat wave of the summer heads towards temperatures of 30 as temperatures of 33 degrees centigrade, which is a temperature also known as, gosh, it's hot. Yorkshire Water has placed a ban on using hosepipes for activities including, but not limited to, watering the garden, cleaning the cars and filling paddling pools in an attempt to protect water supplies in the face of yet more dry weather. Customers flouting the ban could face fines of up to £1,000. But the company has said, "We hope it won't come to that," and urged households to help conserve water by sticking to the restrictions. In other news, Yorkshire Water loses a quarter of its supplies to leaks, which is about 260 million litres of water a day. What? A day! No £1,000 fine for losing 260 million litres of water every day, but if you lose a bucketful washing your car, then it's punishment for you, sunshine. The new hosepipe ban will affect more than 5.7 million homes in Yorkshire, Derbyshire and North Lincolnshire, if indeed there is such a place. And you lucky people, you're the first to be hit with the hosepipe ban after months of extremely hot and dry weather across England land. But pretty soon, a hosepipe ban could be coming to could be coming to a location near you too. This is the first time I've spoken today, so give us a break. I haven't used my mouth yet. I should do mouth yoga before I come on. Pretty soon a hosepipe ban could be coming to a location near you. Oh, never mind. Thames Water said that it would impose a hosepipe ban unless the situation changes significantly. Thames Water loses more water through leaks than any other water company in all of England and Wales. How's that water privatisation working out for you so far?
Oh, fabulous.
And we have Margaret Thatcher to thank for that. 3 cheers for Margaret Thatcher. Hip hip. Boo! And the situation won't change significantly, not soon. Anyway, it's hot and it's going to get hotter. The forecast for the coming days suggests that temperatures could reach 32 degrees centigrade in parts of central and southern England on Friday. That's today. And they're expected to remain high into the weekend, as in tomorrow, with a yellow health heat alert in place for all regions in England until July the 15th.
Warning, warning.
Not a warning, it's an alert. Possible highs of 33 degrees centigrade tomorrow mean the third heat wave of the year will fall short of the top temperatures recorded earlier in July, but the heat will be more widespread. Of course, listeners in Glasgow will get their own weather. I could check on that while you wait. I really don't see the point. One moment, please. What? It's not raining at the moment. You believe that?
No.
Neither will it be raining tomorrow or Sunday. Get ready, people in Glasgow. Do you know what temperature is going to be tomorrow and Sunday? 84 degrees.
What?
84 degrees and sunny in Glasgow. Glaswegians haven't got anything to wear when it's 84 degrees. On Monday it'll be raining, on Tuesday it'll be raining, on Wednesday it'll be raining, on Thursday it'll be raining, on Friday it'll be raining, on Saturday it'll be raining, on Sunday the 20th, and on Monday the 21st, and on the Tuesday, and on the following Wednesday. Every day for the rest of your lives, apart from the next 2 days. The forecast for the coming days says that temperatures should reach 32 degrees in parts of central and southern England, and in Glasgow too. The Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents has urged people to drink water regularly, seek shade and use sunscreen. And you're not experiencing heat stroke, there really is a Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents. They said that in this intense heat period, you should always prepare for your journey by car by reclining your driver's seat so that you have to look through the steering wheel, not over it, and make sure to turn on your fog lights because then you will look cool. Of course, If you're in a Vauxhall hatchback, you will already be doing this.
Thank you.
Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
Next 2 weeks, middle 2 weeks of July, sunny spells, scattered showers, cooler, fresher by the end of Tuesday. Then, from the middle of next week, in the north and the west, there may be heavy rain, thunder, lightning, very, very frightening. Drier in the south and east and hot. And then, last week of July, first week of August. August. It's practically autumn already. Summer is charging along. It's almost time to put out the tinsel. Last week of July, first week of August, some rain and drier spells. Temperatures higher than normal with a chance of more heat waves. Temperatures higher than normal with a chance of more heat waves? We'll take it. Matty in Newmarket says, you see that clip where Trumpel Twitler asks the president of Liberia, where English is the official language, where he learned to speak it so beautifully? What a wally, says Matty. And that comment at the end there, Matty, has certainly put you on a list. Yeah, you are on a list, mate. Cancel all future travel arrangements to the United States of America. Mike says, Earth's biggest ocean, the Pacific, is currently between El Niño and La Niño oscillations. This is contributing to sunshine in Glasgow. Is that true? I don't know. It sounds true. And if it sounds true, that means that it must be. And Darrell in Hove says, as the government navigates the choppy waters of the migrant issue, it's clear that they are attempting a measured approach, effectively adopting the mantra, steer calmer with Keir Starmer. That's not bad. Steer calmer with Keir Starmer. But it's so dull, says Darrell. Let's go back to the giant wave machine idea, push them all back, and mainland Europe can take them while we take none. That's simple British exceptionalism and therefore completely fair. Well, it sounds completely fair to me.
Correct.
Yeah. Wave machine. Oh, I've got hot Meghan news. I'll come to that in just a minute. But first, here's an important call in Bristol. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I thought I'd phone you up with a bit of a tale and woe and disappointment that happened to myself and my friend yesterday.
Oh, no. Not disappointment.
I'm afraid so. So I live in Portishead, which is just outside Bristol, and drove up to Southport first yesterday, which, I don't know, took about 5.5 hours, a lot longer than it should have. I don't know what was going on with the traffic. But anyway, got to my friend's house.
Yes.
And then we drove to Eastern Manchester to the Co-op Arena to go and see the Electric Light Orchestra.
The Electric Light Orchestra.
Rock and roll!
Yes.
Yeah. Which, as you may have heard, was cancelled at the very last minute.
Cancelled at the very last minute.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. Tragic.
We got there, we parked up, we went into the arena and bought a pint of beer, which I'll come back to in a minute. And within 10 minutes of being there, they announced over the tannoy that Jeff Lynne was unwell, and that was it. Evening was over.
And the audience said, as with one voice, don't bring me down.
Very good. Well, I'll come on to that as well. But first of all, one of your bugbears, I bought a pint of beer and a bag of Maltesers for how much?
Well, first of all, that's a very, very bad order. A pint of beer and a bag of Maltesers. Well, Maltesers don't go with beer, for a start. So you got that total. Well, anyway. You can disagree with it all your life. I'm afraid that we're dealing with facts, Martin. I only deal with facts on this show. Not an opinion. It's a fact. Let me see. Maltesers and a pint of beer. I'm going to say it was, don't tell me, £15.
Not quite that bad, but it was £12.70.
£12.70?
Yeah.
Well, that is a bargain for a bad order. There was probably some sort of penalty for ordering Maltesers with beer because they just don't go. I mean, did they have any other snacks?
Well, they did, but I do have a weakness for Maltesers, and I thought, that's what I'm having. Anyway, the second thing that struck me about the evening was they made the announcement, and it just seemed to me that collectively the whole place there was no negative reaction at all. Everybody just collectively got up, obediently filed out the arena,
really,
and off to the car park or whatever. And it just struck me as a very British reaction.
Civilised, yeah.
Yes.
Well, the sad part is, not that you just missed a gig, but you probably missed the last ever chance of seeing them live, because this is their final farewell.
Yeah, this is it. That's what my friend and I said. I can't see him replacing that show. I think that'll be it. And of course, it puts a major doubt over the gig at Hyde Park at the weekend, I would have thought.
Well, I just read an article that said that he is going to play, but then you went to your venue thinking he was going to play as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit sad.
Yeah, do you know what? I thought I would have been sadder, but in a strange way, it was a bit of a novelty because that's never happened to me before.
It's happened to me. I was at Pink Floyd, out of Pink Floyd, and they were playing. I think it wasn't Earl's Court. It was somewhere equally big. Where would it have been? Maybe in the Docklands, somewhere like that. And I was, fortunately, because I was working on a radio station at the time, I managed to secure some tickets right up the front. And if you've ever seen the Floyd, they usually come on and they start with Shine on You Crazy Diamond, which is like this one note that starts, and because the lights go down and the audience goes mad, and then they start very, very, very softly, and suddenly all the lights in the entire place went on. So this wasn't stage lights. This was, there's a fire and we want you to leave the building now. And I thought, somebody's leant on the big switch.
Yeah.
And it's going to go off in a minute and, normal service will be resumed. But no, apparently, like way behind us, right at the back, a stand had collapsed. And the people sitting on it was suddenly sitting on the floor. And so the gig was cancelled. And then Harvey Goldsmith walks on stage in a suit that looked like it was made of solid silver. It was such a weird sight. All of these hippie types have gone to see Pink Floyd, and there was Harvey Goldsmith standing on stage with a microphone explaining to people that the gig was over, and they were not happy. I've come from Sweden for this gig. Yeah. Where can I get my money back? And so people were yelling at him as he was standing on this stage about sort of 20 foot above us, and he was replying through the microphone through Pink Floyd's PA system. It was one of the most bizarre sights I've ever seen in my life. But we got an extra gig. See, they put an extra gig on for the people who got disappointed. You, Martin, won't get one.
Yeah, well, one cloud in the silver lining was I spoke to my friend earlier, and he's already had a full refund for the evening.
Oh, right. Well, that's not the point, though. You didn't want the money; you wanted the gig. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and as you say, quite often, unfortunately, a lot of our musical heroes are going to disappear over the next 10 years.
It's all going to happen at the same time, sadly.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well,
thanks.
It's a sad story to start with, Martin, but I like the bit about Brits pulling together in the face of adversity. So at least we've got that. I mean, he might not have been able to see the gig, but he gained a little bit of positivity about the state of the nation. We all come together in a crisis.
LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
It's a radio show, dear. Paul in Kent says, did you hear about the chatbot on X called Grok? It was asked, what could have been done to prevent the Texas floods? The answer that came back was, Hitler would never allow it to happen because he doesn't tolerate white hate. Pull the plug, people. I think it's too late. I don't think there is a plug and it can't be pulled. I think it has become self-aware.
Correct.
We're doomed. I mean, we actually are. And what could have been done to prevent the Texas floods? Well, the government could have given the people of that manor some extra money in order to protect themselves, in order to have some sort of warning system in place for floods, because it's an area that floods a lot. And apparently Obak Arama offered the good people of that manor the money in order to facilitate that. And they said no, because that's brown person's money. And then Joe Biden, he promised them money in order to facilitate the making of an alarm system. And they didn't want that either, because that's communism, that is. I mean, you know, that I can sum that up in a sound effect. There you go. Keith in Poland says, here are 2 more suggestions for your Trump bingo card. Firstly, opponents of the regime will start falling out of windows or suffering self-inflicted gunshot wounds accompanied with suicide notes. Yes, absolutely. Assuming that hasn't already happened. I have my suspicions. And secondly, he says, and more worryingly, with the US national debt approaching $40 trillion, the regime will adopt a can't-pay, won't-pay position with both domestic and international creditors, which will crash worldwide markets. The orange dictator will erroneously look at this scenario as a big win where everyone loses apart from him. Don't give him ideas, Keith. I bet he's actually thought about that. Well, he said he's going to pay off the national debt with crypto. Crypto coins, you know, magic beans. Yeah, that's about right. Rochester, hello, Lulu.
Hello, Nick, darling.
Yes,
how are you?
I am
puppet?
super. Thanks for asking.
Nick, couple of 3 things. So, I didn't hear you mention Prodigy at Glastonbury.
You didn't see them? No, I didn't see them because the lead guy's not there anymore. So I didn't think it would be worth my while. Yes,
it will be worth your while, Nick.
Right.
Get on the iPlayer and watch it. It was stunning, amazing, incredible.
I tell you what I did find quite good, which I've never tried before, was the Brian Jonestown Massacre, which is a conflation of the Jonestown Massacre.
I like that.
And Brian Jones.
I like that title.
Yeah, they're...
I'd watch and listen for that.
They're old geezers like Neil Young's band. They kind of look like they just hopped a freight train to get there. Yeah.
Right.
Quite good.
Okay, but I would entreat you to please watch Prodigy on iPlayer because.
Well, if you're entreating, then how can I refuse?
And honestly, they were. So I tuned in on Sunday night. I thought, oh come on, let's have a good sender, right? Oh. Pyramid Stage, Olivia Rodriguez or someone, I'd never heard of her. I thought, oh my God, how depressing, how boring.
I haven't tried it.
No.
I tried Charlie XCX or whatever that is.
Don't bother.
Oh,
don't bother.
I cannot believe what I was looking at. It looked like somebody just got on stage at a 5-year-old's birthday party.
Oh, honestly,
it was excruciating.
Yeah, excruciating is a word. But, you know, I was all set for Friday night and Sunday, and then the bloke came on Glastonbury, the presenter, and he said, oh, we've got Prodigy on the other stage. I thought, oh, I'll have a little look.
Right.
And I went on, and I was dancing around.
Riveted.
I was jumping up and down like a blinking maniac.
There's
honestly.
nobody lives underneath you, do they?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they smoke cannabis, and they're very accommodating, so it's all good. But anyway, honestly, it was fabulous, darling. I honestly went mental, and I even got online to see
I believe that last part. Lulu, thanks for that, and I appreciate this swerve. Alex says, how is it that Fat Palpatine can accuse Brazil of insidious attacks on free elections without anyone reminding him of his own actions in the US? After all, he incited an insurrection when he lost, then spent the next 4 years at Dingalingo. Dingalingo. How come I've not thought about that before? Not Mar-a-Lago, Dingalingo. Claiming that the election had been stolen by Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe, total disgrace. Yes, he seems to be emboldened enough to insert himself in other countries' personal private business. And he'll be running this country if we give him an inch, he'll take a mile. I mean, he's already telling us who we can tax and who we can't tax, and telling us, oh, you're getting this wrong and you're getting that wrong. And of course, the usual suspects, they're absolutely delighted. The usual suspects who are yelling about unelected foreign officials couldn't be more delighted that unelected foreign official is telling us what to do.
I'm a nutcase.
You know, those people. As soon as he stops his little jaunt to point at dinghies, he'll be telling us all about it. This text says, based on the news, the new plan for depressed people instead of therapy or time to heal seems to be this. Persons with depression. Something terrible happened and I struggle to get out of bed or leave the house. And the doctor will reply, have you considered doing some star jumps? What news is that, exactly? I must have missed that. I'm missing a lot lately. You know, this last week, it's just like, oh, give us a break. I took a couple of days off. I don't think I missed anything. Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Jeff.
Hiya, Nick. How you doing, boy?
All right, thanks. Did I miss anything? Taking a couple of days off from the snooze?
Good question. Right, listen, were you around in 1976?
Was I around what?
Alive.
Yes.
Good. Do you remember 1976?
Now, you referring to the weather?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I do. I mean, I was in Embra, which is not known for its clement weather, but it was scorchio even there.
Yep. Well, apparently, I'm looking up the records, and it's virtually a rerun of it. Extremely sunny, dry spring, followed by heat waves in the summer, left the place incredibly in crisis.
Arid it was. I can remember people on TV on the news standing in fields where all the ground had cracked because there was no moisture in the earth.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looked like a desert plain, but it was probably just Essex.
Well, I was dabbling in the fruit and veg game, and the thing is that a 25 kilo bag of potatoes then were normally being sold for about £1.50, something like that. And virtually that summer, they went to £10 a bag.
Blimey.
Now, today, it's more or less £10 a bag, but it's taken 50 years of inflation sort of thing to get the £10 a bag. But £10 a bag then was incredible. People were trying to eat rice and, buy anything,
Now, that doesn't sound such a stretch, but in 1976, eating rice would have been considered, quite sophisticated.
Green peppers were unknown.
Yeah. It's remarkable how little food we used to get by on. I mean, what a small choice we used to have compared to now, where we got everything from everywhere all the time.
Yeah, well, a few farmers who had introduced irrigation in Lincolnshire. This is the main potato growing area, and everybody had potatoes then. And those who had irrigated were made millionaires virtually that summer. It was an incredible change around in the whole of the structure, and people were. It was crisis time. So I
don't remember any of that. I mean, I guess I was too young to be interested in potatoes, other than what my mum would serve for dinner.
Exactly.
I wasn't out there buying any or registering how much they were going up in price. I was just, buying records by the Rubettes.
Yeah,
and Sweet.
they were importing potatoes to make it up from New Zealand, from Israel, from all over the world, from South America. They were bringing in. they were flying in potatoes,
God.
trying to. It was
flying,
incredible.
really flying.
Yeah. Well, some of them. I'm looking now today. They're getting carrots in from China.
Really?
I mean, carrots. Well, carrot is a sort of a cheap job, isn't it? It doesn't command huge prices.
No, that's right. Yeah, even those cute little miniature carrots that you get in Waitrose, even they're not. It's not like gold.
Chantenay, I think you're thinking of. Well, the whole of the vegetable fruit system is totally different now. It's all run in from air. It's completely changed. But then it was a major crisis. Now, what can happen to us this time? Because the prospects are that we are going to face this, and how will it affect us?
Well, it's going to affect us very, very badly because people are going to freak out. I mean, particularly if there's a potato shortage, because you ain't got no potatoes, you ain't got no chips.
Exactly.
Imagine that.
the point being, Nick, that who knows what the future is going to bring, but, we can always hope.
Yeah.
Hope springs eternal.
Right. Well, we don't know what the future will bring, but whatever you have in mind, it'll probably be less of it. Yes.
True.
All right. Thanks for the bad news, Jeff.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
You're just speaking words now, Nick, and they don't mean much.
Rude. This text says, I had it pointed out to me that Michael Stipe, out of REM, sounds exactly like Donald Trump when singing Losing My Religion. Have a listen. I most certainly will do nothing of the sort. But people keep pointing that out to me as well. And I keep pointing out that that isn't true. I say,
No.
it isn't true. Dave in Eastbourne says, we've had a hosepipe ban in East Sussex too. Brags Dave in Eastbourne. And Marcin says, Nick, there is bad news. No Brits in Wimbledon anymore. Oh, really? Oh, that is tragic. I may never get over it. Guildford. Michael.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Nick. Thank you. It's an honor. You're a national treasure.
No, but carry on.
To me, you are. So a few shows ago, you had a listener call to say that as he was listening to your show, his neighbor's lawnmower stopped working just as you were saying that everything in this country breaks down.
Really?
Yes.
That happened on this show?
No, so one of your listeners was relaying his experience.
I really should pay more attention. I don't remember that.
And I wanted to call in to say that this is called illusion, a frequency illusion. And I wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you if you've ever experienced this. So typically what happens to me is I'm reading an article, and as I'm looking at a word, the same word will I'll hear the same word coming from the radio or somewhere.
Like the word Schadenfreude or something like that, something that you ordinarily don't come across frequently, or perhaps you've never heard before, and then you'll hear it every day for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, so... okay, well, I had two examples, but I know our time is limited, so I'll move on to the next thing, which was film recommendations, if I may, Nick.
Well, hang on a minute. Let's deal with this frequency illusion, because it is an illusion you have only just become aware of, or you've noticed a particular thing, and then it appears as though it happens on a regular basis, like every day or so afterwards. It could be a word, or it could be seeing somebody do something, or something like that. And you think, that maybe is maybe I've become one with the universe.
Yes. So if I can share my,
it's just coincidence.
Well, but it's a spooky coincidence. So I remember a particular occasion. I was driving on a motorway, and I was listening to a song by Biohazard, which is a heavy metal band. Yeah. And at one point in that song, there's like an ambulance or a police siren going on. And at the very same time, like a police car was coming right at me with their sirens on. And I was really confused. I couldn't quite figure out what was happening. Another example that happened to me was when I was looking at an email. And there was a client's name, surname Williams, and at the same time I was listening to a Formula One podcast, and they were talking about Williams, and the two things coincided. So as I looked at the word Williams, they were saying Williams, and that's spooky. It
is spooky if you think of it as spooky, or you could just mark it down as coincidence. Because of all the times that you were listening to another podcast and their name didn't come up, you didn't think, their names haven't come up. You only register it when it is a coincidence, and then you try to order your world, because coincidences are an alarming thing for the brain to take on, random occurrences. So even without thinking about it, you try to order the world, and that's when you think, there's something going on here, and from that springs conspiracy theories, and all that sort of all that nonsense.
Yes. Okay, can I move on to my recommendations? Because I'm very keen to pass them on to you. Because I don't recommend things lightly on television, because I'm very demanding. And like you, after Cold Soul finished, I'm really struggling to find anything that will satisfy me. So, but there are two things I'd like to recommend to you. One can I say which streaming service?
Why not?
One beginning with, Netflix. So the
one beginning
Netflix,
with Netflix. Well, let me think.
that one.
Which one is that? Begins with Netflix.
Yes, so that one.
Amazon?
So there's a series called Bloodline.
Right. I'm not familiar with that.
I know. Well, good, because it's very good. But just watch season 1. Don't bother with the other seasons.
Okay.
And the same thing, this just the first season. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Homecoming with Julia Roberts. It's excellent. It's a mini-series.
And that one's on Netflix?
No, that one. Yes, that's right.
It starts with Amazon.
Yes, but I mean it sincerely. You will be pleased with those two. You won't waste your time.
Well, okay. I'll hold you to that, Michael.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you very
show.
much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. This text says, "Hi, Nick. Did you catch Uncle Nige fishing? Absolutely hilarious. Thankfully, he's safe from any horse-related mishaps." Don't make me play that again. Not now, anyway. Maybe later. Paul says, "Hi, Nick. Donald Trump's scheduled state visit is sounding even more like how we feel when we check into a holiday hotel, only to find that they've got the builders in." Does that make sense? Donald Trump, I know I screwed it up a bit, but even so. This says, "It's been so hot here in South Wales, I'm not sure about his cuckoo, but I fear that Jeff's goose may have been cooked. When I checked on our pet sheep earlier, I swear I could smell roast lamb. And I'm vegan." Poor cows. York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick.
Jan.
How are you?
I am great, mate.
Very good. Two things, both musical.
Yeah.
It's the 40th anniversary of Live Aid on Sunday.
Yes.
And did you go to Wembley?
No, I didn't. I had it on the telly all day, and it was very. I remember it being a particularly hot day, wasn't it? It was a beautiful day, and so I was sort of in and out, but the TV was on all the time because I wasn't really interested in all of the acts. There was quite a few there that I could take or leave, but you know, you just wanted to feel like you were a part of it.
Yep. Well, it was a hot day, and Midge came on, and he had a long coat on.
Right.
It looked like a Mac.
Yes.
And I thought, blimey, he's going to be boiling.
Yeah, well, you know, rock and rollers, they aren't that interested in how they feel. It's more about looks, baby.
Just how they look, yeah. So, he'd done
that video of him, Vienna, and he was wearing a Mac, so that's probably, he thought that was his thing.
Yeah. What do you remember about it?
I remember
Anybody
Queen.
in particular?
Yeah, Queen.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of the day, Queen came on and they just sort of took over. And I know that sort of call and response thing was part of Freddie's act. But to take the crowd that early on in the day and to sort of lay down the gauntlet to everybody that came afterwards was, I mean, the nerve. I mean, it was quite something to see. Yeah. Other than that, I don't remember very much about it, to be honest. I mean, I guess Led Zeppelin was a bit of an anticlimax.
What I think?
What? What?
I like Bryan Adams, and I seem to have missed him because I don't remember seeing him at all.
I don't remember he was a part of it.
He was.
Yeah, I think Bryan Adams is great. He's sort of maligned because he had that thing, Everything I Do for You, which was number one for about 86 years, and people just couldn't stand it anymore. And please make it stop. But I like the rock stuff he does. You know, Cuts Like a Knife and stuff like that.
Definitely, I love him. He's great. I remember Bob Geldof swearing, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. That was a bit of a shock in those days because...
It really was, yeah.
It wouldn't be now, though, would it?
Just gives your bleeping money.
That's right, yeah.
And of course, the that heartbreaking video to that song by the Cars, which didn't...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it fitted, I guess... But I don't really understand why they chose that song.
No.
And I
love that song,
I would imagine, it's a very good song, but I would imagine that the band were a bit nonplussed that their song would be forever associated with those heartbreaking images.
Yeah.
And up until that point, it had been a bit jolly, you know. And then they played that, and then they cut back to the studio, and I think Billy Connolly was there, wasn't he? And he was crying, and it was a bit like, oh, okay, now what are we going to do?
But it doesn't seem 40 years, does it? You know.
Stuff like that just seems like yesterday to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
not exactly yesterday, but the day before yesterday, something like that. 40 years ago. It's a bit frightening when you add it up like that, Jan. Do you remember the first time that you remembered something that you thought was relatively recently, and it was a big 10-year anniversary, and you think, oh, blimey, 10 years.
I know.
Well, now we're thinking 40.
I know. It's awful, isn't it? Can I just get onto my second thing quickly?
Oh, that wasn't your thing? Go ahead.
Scenes from an Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
Now, whenever Billy Joel is mentioned on this on your show, you start singing from there, don't you? Is that your favourite?
It's a favourite. Certainly, that album is terrific.
Yeah.
Bottle of white. That's a little bit too much wine, don't you think? A bottle of red and a bottle of white? Steady on there, mate.
And perhaps a bottle of rosé instead.
Instead, yeah, not as well as, because that would be crazy, yeah, instead.
But the way he says white, you've got it just right. Because he sort of spits it out, doesn't he? White,
yes, I suppose so. Yeah, well, he enunciates it clearly, if that's what you meant by spit. Yes, spit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Perhaps the wrong word.
Yeah, the wrong word, yeah. You can think that out again. All right, excellent work, Jan. Cheers, my dear.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What's he got to be depressed about?
The time speeding up seems to be... it's like the world is spinning faster, which it actually is. Did you read about this? Scientists have warned that this summer could include some of the shortest days of your entire life. What? On July the 22nd and August the 5th, experts predict the day will be 1.38 and 1.51 milliseconds shorter than average.
Oh, no.
This is because the planet's rotation has entered an unexpected period of acceleration. I'll read that again. The planet's rotation has entered an unexpected period of acceleration, shaving a millisecond or so off the length of a solar day. What they don't say is why. Why? How? How is the rate at which the planet spins speeding up? I mean, wouldn't it require some sort of impetus to make it speed up? Like, being knocked by some sort of interplanetary force? You would think so. This article doesn't explain that. It doesn't give us the why, but it does give us the what will happen if this doesn't stop. Do you want to know? What could happen if the world just kept spinning faster? Asks the Mail. Well, on average, as you know, it takes the planet 24 hours or 86,400 seconds to complete one full rotation, which is called the solar day. Small fluctuations like the location of the moon or volcanic eruptions can shift this around a millisecond in either direction, but the rotation is generally fairly stable. The Earth is a sphere and not flat.
Oh, right, yeah.
Not flat. It's a sphere. So its circumference is smaller near the poles than at the equator, so the planet's surface moves faster the further you get from the poles. Somebody standing at the equator is rotating in space at around 1,037 miles an hour, while somebody in London is only moving at 646 miles an hour, or double that if you're driving an Audi. Compared to these speeds, an increase of just 1 mile per hour might not seem like a big deal. The days would be about a minute and a half shorter overall, which our body clocks would probably not notice right away. But satellites would notice it, because many of them are in stationary orbit, and they'd be knocked out of sync. I mean, if the Earth speeds up, those satellites will lose their position, and navigation and communication and weather monitoring services would start to fail. And the navigation part is what should concern you, because, you send your selfies to the cloud, well, they'd get lost in space. They would go past where the satellite used to be and just keep going. Pictures of your beautiful face. The bigger impact is that water would start to move from the poles to the equator due to increased centrifugal forces. God, it's like being back at school, isn't it?
Boring.
Centrifugal forces. Even at just 1 mile an hour faster, this would cause sea levels to rise by a few inches around the equator, and for cities already at or very near sea level, this could mean devastating flooding. That's at 1 mile per hour faster. And keep in mind that the Earth is spinning faster than it normally does. And we've got no idea why. I mean, I'm saying I've got no idea why. Experts may have an idea why. They just didn't pass that information on. Probably because they didn't think we could cope with it. Perhaps it's aliens from space. At 100 miles an hour faster, if the Earth kept accelerating until it was moving 100 miles per hour faster at the equator, where it's already going around over 1,000, remember, then the equator would be completely underwater as the water rushed down from the poles because of centrifugal forces. The Amazon Basin, northern Australia, and the islands in the equatorial region would all go underwater up to 65 feet. Blimey. The solar day would last only 22 hours. It would discombobulate us more than just a little, because our circadian rhythms would all go out of whack. We'd know where we are. Studies have shown that changes like daylight saving lead to increased rates of heart attacks, strokes, and driving accidents, which would be even more severe because you'd be driving through a lake. That's at 100 miles an hour. And keep in mind, the Earth is speeding up for some reason that they're not telling us. We don't know why. Well, and when I say we, I mean me. So that's what would happen if the Earth sped up by 100 miles an hour, and keeping in mind that it's already going at over 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Now, if that was to double, if the Earth just kept on getting faster, now I don't know whether that's physically possible or not. No one does. Well, probably some people do, but they're just not passing that information on. So when I say no one, I mean me. At 1,000 miles an hour faster, the Earth would be rotating twice as fast as it does today, with disastrous consequences. We would literally not be able to hang on. I don't think I'm making that up. Centrifugal forces, again, at work, pulling hundreds of feet of water towards the equator. And except for the highest mountains, everything around that area would be covered in water. At really extreme speeds of 17,000 miles an hour, that's 17 times faster than normal, centrifugal forces would be powerful enough to overwhelm gravity. We'd start to float. And once the planet started to reach speeds of 24,000 miles an hour, a life as we know it would be over. And keep in mind, the Earth is rotating faster. Nobody knows why. Well, some people might know why, but they're not passing that information on. They're keeping it from us. You believe that? Anybody at the equator would become weightless at 17,000 miles an hour. And you might even get reverse rain as water falls up the atmosphere. Centrifugal forces would now be so strong that they would start to flatten out the Earth like a spinning ball of clay. So the Earth would be flat.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the tectonic plates would shift and the Earth's crust would crack, leading to catastrophic results. Even Donald Trump's wig would fly off, and that is held down with military-grade glue.
I don't wear a toupee.
And could the Earth keep spinning faster? No. I've just been completely wasting your time. It's extremely unlikely that the world will start to spin faster. In fact, the world is actually slowing down over time. About 4.4 billion years ago, the planet was spinning so fast that days lasted 4 minutes. But can you imagine that? I mean, you'd just have time to reach for the light switch and you'd have to turn it back off again. 4.4 billion years ago, the planet was spinning so fast that days lasted 4 minutes. But this slowed down after a large object hit the Earth and created the moon. Oh! What a marvellous large object. And the only way that the Earth could speed up is if a large object similarly hits us just the right angle. But this would likely liquefy the planet's crust, so no humans would survive to see the results. So there's something to look forward to. The destruction of everything that we hold dear on planet Earth. Why is it spinning faster? No one knows. Phil in Torquay says, I like a pickled egg with a can of beer. It's delicious. That sounds awful. A pickled egg with a can of beer. Is that not too acidic? I mean, there's a very good reason why crisps and nuts are sold with beer. Because it's salty, makes you want to drink more, but it's also, it sort of has the opposite effect on the body of an acidic beer or other similar beverage, doesn't it? But a pickled egg, I mean, that's acid overload, that is. This is, Nick, that Pink Floyd gig was at Earl's Court. Oh, right, the one with the collapsing stand. It is quite remarkable. I mean, it was such a big venue that the word that the stand had collapsed took a really long time to reach the front where I was sitting. You know, obviously it was behind us, and we weren't very interested in what was going on behind us because Pink Floyd were on stage in front of us. But the big lights came on, and I thought, that is an error. That doesn't look like Pink Floyd lighting to me, because I've seen them before, and, you know, groovy. They got groovy lighting. And it definitely looked like a mistake. Somebody leant on the big on the big switch. And, and they all sort of shuffled off, which wasn't a big deal because, you know, nobody really goes to a Pink Floyd gig to see the individuals. You go to see, you know, the show. Yowza. The lights and the films and all of that jazz. And the big pigs and, you know, and the teacher and stuff like that, the big puppets. And then they just sort of disappeared. And this guy who I learned later was Harvey Goldsmith came out in what looked like a solid silver suit. I think it was silk. And he started having the loudest conversation, one-sided conversation in the world, him using Pink Floyd's PA system to talk to people who were shouting at him with a Swedish accent down the front because they'd come such a long way. And I hung around for quite a while because, you know, you don't really want to fight for a tube with thousands of disappointed people all at the same time. So I thought, well, I'll just hang around because this is in itself is quite entertaining. Watching Harvey Goldsmith have conversations with with disgruntled punters using a microphone and the world's largest PA system. Kind of amusing. I thought, I'll never see this again. And this says, hey, Nick, are you a fan of Ozzy?
Rock and roll!
Well, I don't know what constitutes a fan. I mean, I like a lot of his music. Osmosis is a tremendous album. That's what I was going on about Perry Mason. That's the opening track on that album. Terrific stuff. But, Black Sabbath is a bit dark for me. Ozzy's solo stuff is a bit more melodic. It's a bit more AOR, as they say in America, adult-oriented rock. So that is a full and frank answer, and I appreciate the question. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone, 0345 6060 973. I've got Meghan news. I've got news about our preparedness for war. Spoiler alert, not great. And we top the class in attractiveness in this country. Oh, yes. That and more with me, Nick Abbott, on the way after the new news at 11 on LBC.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and
Play.
Today, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
This is absolute tosh.
Hello, everyone.
0345 6060 973. So, as you heard in the news, tensions are mounting between Labour's biggest union backers and the government as Unite voted to suspend Angela Rayner's membership and reconsider its ties with the party, with its General Secretary claiming that Keir Starmer's party is not on the side of working people. All right, well, you can think that, but which party are they hoping will benefit from it? I mean, I'm not sure that the Conservatives are their thing. And I know that the Unite Union aren't the Conservatives type of thing. So which do they prefer? The Greenies? The Lib Dems? The Reformists?
I'm a nutcase.
I mean, Unite is one of the biggest unions in the country, and they've accused the government of failing workers in a row over the Birmingham bin strike that could lead to an historic split with that party. And as far as I know, the internet tells me that Birmingham bin persons are striking because a new pay deal means that at least some of them are going to be losing £8,000 a year. And the council says, oh, no, it's not, but the strike's been going on for a couple of months now, and it really does bring home how valuable those people are that we don't value very much. I mean, you might not notice or care about the bin men or women, sexist, but you notice them when they're not there. Piles of rotting, stinking putrid.
Disgusting.
All over the place. And it's not been a happy time lately between the unions and the government, but then the government was gifted a rotting, stinking, putrid sandwich by the last government.
This government.
That government. And the one before it.
Absolutely.
And the one before that.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And when a Labour government comes in, workers expect everything to be fine straight away, but you know, much like when the fire brigade comes around, there's still a lot of work to do after the hoses have been turned off. In other news, the fire brigades union are upset as well.
Oh, no.
Just can't catch a break, can you, Skier? The government needs to bring in a wealth tax, said the fire brigades union. And the public agree, by a large majority. And the other unions agree, and even some of the wealthy agree, that the government should think about a wealth tax. And the government thought about it for a second and said,
No.
When asked, would you support a wealth tax of 2% on wealth above £10 million, 75% of those who expressed a preference said yes. 75%. Unfortunately, 75% of the population was drowned out by the 0.01% who don't want to pay a bean. And so Unite members debated a motion at their conference in Brighton, where they condemned the Labour-run council in Birmingham and the government for their approach to the bin workers. And the union took Labour's Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner's membership offer because of her stance on the strike. And in a perfect comedy moment, allies of Angela Rayner said, you can't fire her, she quit. She quit last April. And that's true, apparently. Angela Rayner has just had her union membership taken off her 3 months after she resigned her membership of that union. And allies of Rayner said that Unite has singled out the leading cabinet minister who has pushed the government to the left on workers' rights. And she can't intervene in a matter that's been devolved to the Birmingham Council anyway. An ally of the Deputy Prime Minister said, it's wild. They know full well Angela can't directly intervene in the way that they say, and to attack one of the few remaining cabinet members who's standing up for workers' rights and real Labour values is simply mad. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know about mad, but it's not helpful. I ask again, which party does Unite think would be better for them? But it does seem odd that the Labour government seems willing to contemplate the taxing of everyone apart from those who can really afford it. But, you know, that is typical of the left, that is. Ignore the danger from outside and let's have a fight with ourselves. We'll wrestle each other to the ground, they say. I'm amazed they could keep it together so long enough to win the last election. 0345 6060 973. Beckenham. Hello, Austin.
Hi, Nick.
Austin.
Live Aid.
Yes.
Now, if I'm correct, you were saying that you thought possibly that Queen were on earlier in the day.
Yeah. Weren't they on second?
No. I think the Status Quo were on first, but Queen were on... I'm going to have to correct you. They were on about...
Yeah.
About 6:40, 6:45.
Are you sure about that? I thought it was like about 2ish.
No, because I was working that day and I got home about 5:30.
Yeah.
And U2 were on, and they were very good.
Were they?
And I think Dire Straits were on either before Queen or after, because they had a gig that night at the Arena. They already booked a few nights at the Arena, but they wanted to be part of of Live Aid, so they did a sort of 15-20 minute piece. But Queen were on about 6:40, 6:45, and as we know, they just. I mean, it's probably for me, it's the best ever live performance in any genre. They were just Freddie was just magnificent.
He just took the crowd in the palm of his hand, and it was completely effortless as well, wasn't
it? Completely fearless.
And he didn't seem to even build up a sweat doing it. He just took all of the people in there and just danced them around like puppets. It was really quite extraordinary.
Yeah, just for people that are listening, they're going to show highlights tomorrow night on BBC Two.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to show Queen at some point. And
right.
If anyone has never seen it before, they've got to watch it because it is just magnificent.
I bet it's on YouTube. It must be all over the internet.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I like Queen. I'm not a massive fan. I was really looking forward to The Who. The Who are my favourite band, and they were on at 8 p.m. But I think my generation, they were pretty rusty anyway. They weren't at their best. They hadn't played for 2 or 3 years, and then for about 10 minutes they lost the satellite, so there was just no picture. I think you could hear it on Radio 1, but they lost Pinball Wizard, and I think it was Love Rain on Me. I think they came back in on Love Rain on Me, but it was a real disappointment. I mean, they weren't the best performance for a band of their calibre. They were pretty rusty, but
they'd lost their drummer, hadn't they? I mean, he was such a key part of that.
Of course,
band.
But Kenny Jones gets slated, but he's a good drummer.
Of course he is, but he's not, and neither is anybody else. Keith Moon.
I absolutely agree with you. You know, Bonham was a great drummer, but Moon, I mean, he doubled over all the time. He was completely unique.
I'm not really even talking about his playing style, which was very, like you said, it's very unique. But just the, part of the live act, it was the four of them all bouncing off each other.
Yeah. I mean, they played like a jazz sort of combo. The three of them, and then Daughtry is an underrated vocalist. You've got to see on YouTube, Nick, Tanglewood. If you maybe over the weekend, look at Water, the track Water at Tanglewood, and it's just 1970, and it is just magnificent. They were at their peak from about 69 to about 74. I know you saw them in 76 at Celtic Park, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they were still
£4. £4 pounds.
Little Feet and sensational Alex Harvey Band as well.
Streetwalkers.
Wow.
They just released the Red Card album, which is one of the finest albums I've got.
Really, I don't know much about them. I want to check them out though. Thanks for the tip. But yeah, the Who were they were the best live band ever. They were just untouchable. Between about 69 and 74, 75, they were just absolutely untouchable.
And then Phil Collins got in Concord, didn't he? He did a set here, and then he went to do one in New York, and then he I was reading a thing recently. He was talking about he went into the dressing room where Led Zeppelin were because he was going to play with them.
They didn't get on, did they?
And he said it was really awful. It was like walking into a really dark place. Kind of like sort of like the devil was in residence there, and no, they didn't have a happy time.
I think he was a scapegoat though for possibly because I didn't think they played that well, and I think they sort of pointed him out as, because he was the new boy, as it were, and I think that was the first time they played since John Bonham, a live performance since Nebworth, maybe. And I mean, it was a bit pretentious of Phil Collins going over.
Yeah,
unless it was charity, they did it for, it was sponsored or whatever.
I'm sure it wasn't his idea. Some bright spark came up with the notion that how we going to join the two in some way, and that's how they came up with it.
I guess because they could do it, they did it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Maybe, it was sort of he could.
Other than that, though, I don't really remember that much from the day. I mean, I guess I wasn't glued to the set all day long. I was sort of walking in and out, but the telly was on continuously. And I think I tried to tape it, but those are the days with VHS tape.
Yes.
Which would run out about every 2 hours. You had to be there at the point of the action to take the tape out and put a new one in.
I taped Queen, Dire Straits and The Who, and McCartney at the end. McCartney was top of the bill, of course. Can you imagine? I mean, because the mic went on McCartney's performance, so it was a bit embarrassing, and poor old Macca, and then I think after about 2 minutes, they managed to get him a new mic.
Yes.
But can you imagine this, Nick? If John Lennon hadn't been murdered, I'm pretty sure, even money, that it would have possibly been a reunion of the Beatles at Wembley. And can you imagine what it would have been like seeing those four on stage again? First time for me, of course, but I mean, people back in the day in the 60s would have obviously seen it originally if they went to live gigs, etc. But can you imagine what it would have been like if...
Well, not really a live band, though, were they? I mean, that was their thing. They were a studio band, and the live thing they gave up quite early on. But
they gave up in '66, didn't they? When all the hullabaloo was happening with being threatened, etc. But I think, they did kind of towards the end. They did turn into sort of a rock band, didn't they? And then they split. So I guess they did.
You sound like you're still sad, Austin. You're going to get over it.
Well, yeah,
it was a while ago now.
I mean, I was 18 in '85, so obviously I was born till '67. But obviously, I got into the Beatles, I think, around about '82.
Yeah.
Started to look back and listen.
I've started to get into them just lately. I spent my entire life thinking that they were overrated, and then I finally decided to listen to them, and I thought, I am such an idiot.
Because you watched the film, didn't you?
The Apple
came
thing.
out 4 or 5 years ago.
That Apple thing, Get Back, Yeah,
and you were won over, weren't you, by watching them rehearse?
Completely, yeah. Here, Austin, I got to go, but thanks for that. A little waltz down memory lane. 0345 6060 973. Andy in Malden says, on the subject of hosepipe bans, I recently had a letter from our water supplier telling me we had a leak and our smart water was... we had a leak and our smart meter was showing a constant minimum consumption of 14 litres an hour. Blimey. The letter warned that if we didn't resolve the leak within 6 weeks, we'd be fined. I found the leak on an outside tap and I fixed it. 2 weeks later, they confirmed that the system was no longer showing a minimum hourly consumption. I wrote to them the very next day, advising them that it appears that they are losing 635 million litres of water a day, as per the press. In my letter, I advised that if they did not locate the leaks and repair them within 6 weeks, I'd be fining them. I pointed out that if they could do that to me, there was no reason I couldn't do it to them. I've yet to hear back, says Andy in Malden. Well, yeah, exactly. The nerve of them. I mean, I mentioned this at the top of the programme. Yorkshire Water are threatening people with a fine of £1,000 if they, squirt too much of it about the place. But they're losing something like 260 million litres of water a day. Where are their fines? Just endless bonuses for excellence in being themselves. Worth every penny.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
Mark in Spain says, just to give you the heads up, I love Britain and I always will be British, but something must change. I have lived in the Costa Blanca in Spain. Most villas have pools, and the Spanish love jet washing their cars regularly. We've never had a hosepipe ban. Just to further wind you up, my water bill for a 3-bed villa with a pool is approximately £35 a month.
What?
Good grief. How come Spain hasn't got hosepipe bans? I mean, the rain in Spain is non-existent. Whereas here, it rains all the blooming time, apart from this year, where it hasn't hardly rained at all. That's a very good... that is an interesting missive. The Spanish do have pools. So do the French, around where Carol lives.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, no end of people have got pools down there. And they jet wash their cars and they hose their gardens and all of the rest of it. And where are their hosepipe bans? Just in this country. Because nothing works here. Somerset, hello, John.
Hi, Nick, how are you?
I am great, mate.
Excellent. Allow me to tell you I'm in an excellent mood.
Ah, yes. Why is that, then?
Well, I've been watching stuff on the news and everything the last few weeks, same as everything else. Everything's absolutely terrible.
Yes.
But...
Oh, but?
But, and it is a big but, things aren't as bad as they were when I was on the phone to you about, I don't know, as little previously as 1 year ago.
Really? What's improved?
What's improved? Well, I remember talking to you about there's a game that people can play sometimes, and I won't swear because I'm aware that Ofcom are listening. But the game called Shove, Marry, or a word that rhymes with...
Don't say it.
I won't say it.
Yes.
But you know, yeah, and it's a word that people do it on the TV all the time.
Yeah.
But you can't say it on the radio.
No. Those are the
And
rules. You can watch somebody say it, but you can't hear them say it without watching them say it.
Well, you can actually watch them do it on the TV.
That's right. Yeah, while they're reading the news. Can you believe that?
I can't believe that. Who are you talking about?
Huh?
Who are you talking about?
Oh, these are the jokes, folks. Funny, no?
No.
Anyway, back then, the choice for shove, marry, or rhymes with
yes,
bad
yes.
were Sunak, Truss, and Johnson.
What game was this?
The idea of who would you...
Yeah, but where was this game being played?
I spoke to you on the radio about it about a year ago. And you said...
And what does this have to do with the news?
No, what I'm saying is it's not so bad now because the choice is not so bad because it's who would you marry, who would you shove, and who would you, give the elbow to. So now we've got Keir Starmer, Sunak, or Truss. It's not as bad as the choice was a year ago.
It sounds pretty bad to me. I mean, it sounds really awful. Like, can I vote for none of the above?
I don't think I've done this very well.
No. If those are the choices that are available to us, then I'd like to play another game, please.
I'm moving swiftly on. Why is Trump so brown at the moment?
He's sort of gone less orange and more terracotta. There's a sort of a dusky hue to the parts of his face that are painted of a day.
But also, I thought you would like this. Imagine if Starmer went on television tomorrow for a press conference with a face like that.
Yeah, with half a can of hairspray and a face that looks the same colour as a garden plant pot.
What would the Daily Mail say? And the other newspapers and the media generally? And would anyone ask him in a press conference? Would they say, is this your new look,
yes,
Mr. Prime Minister?
Yeah, they would. And yet nobody says that to Trump's face, ever, at all. Like, what have you done to yourself, mate, you colossal painted clown? Nobody ever says that to him.
They don't say that. But I think that Starmer, I know what he'd say.
Go on.
It's nothing to do with the horse.
Right.
He'd just say, well, I was left a £20 million black hole by the previous government.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah, but it wouldn't sound anything like that, if that's what you were going for.
Can I speak to you about Keith Moon?
Okay, briefly, yes.
Okay, it's not a joke.
As long as you don't try to impersonate him.
I won't try and impersonate him. I remember a story I read about Keith Moon. Was, he used to smash up hotels.
Yes.
They used to, and one of the things was he used to throw fireworks and blow up toilets in hotel rooms. And this, Anyway, I remember hearing one time that the Who were on a tour and they were staying at some swanky hotel. And when they left the hotel, they got in the tour bus and they got about a mile down the road. And then Keith Moon said, "Oh, God," he said, "I'm sorry, I've forgotten something." So they drove back to the hotel. He went up to the hotel room and he threw the television out the window into the hotel swimming pool.
Yeah, I think he was a bit of an idiot.
He hadn't even paid his license.
Yeah, I think he was a bit of an idiot. An entertaining idiot, right enough, but, somebody should have stepped in and corrected him. Because health and safety went out the window with the telly.
With an intervention.
Exactly. Yes, somebody should have stepped in and given him a guiding hand to the side of the head.
I completely agree. And with regard to Angela Rayner, by the way.
Yes.
They said that they've renounced her membership of the union,
yes,
the Unite, and I think you said it's funny because she renounced her membership about 2 months ago. Or whatever.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Yeah, it reminds me that I renounced my membership of the Conservative Party about 3 years ago. No, they tried to remove me from the Conservative Party about 3 months ago. I stopped sending Margaret Thatcher Valentine's cards in 1990.
Right, you almost screwed that joke up.
I'm tired.
Yes. Yes. All right, he's under par. He's not performing at his best. I understand. Thanks a lot, John. Jackie in Sleaford says, OK, I have a new Trump name to add to the list. I hope it's new, otherwise this is embarrassing. Mussolini. I like that. Mussolini. Yeah, OK. I'm going to stick that on the list, Donny.
Don't be rude.
This text says, "Hi, Nick. On the subject of bands, I recently joined a reggae band playing the triangle." I just read the next sentence. I've read the next sentence, so you don't have to. This will probably... it was unexpected. Some comedy is funny because it's expected, and that's the comedy of catchphrases. I didn't watch that program, but I once saw somebody emerging from a shed saying, "This week I am mostly wearing Gianni Versace," and that was funny because he does that every week, right? I can't remember what the program was. Was it Little? Well, it wasn't Little Britain. It was one of those catchphrase comedy shows, or it's Laurel and Hardy trying to walk through a door together and getting stuck every time, or their hats get blown off and they put the wrong hat on every time. You know it's coming, and it's funny before it happens because you know it's going to happen. And then the other kind of comedy is the comedy of surprise. And this one took me by surprise. I had no idea this is where that was going. Huh. It's quite funny. Oh, you want to hear it? "Hi, Nick. On the subject of bands, I've recently joined a reggae band playing the I'll get through it, don't worry. I'll just have to take a run-up. From the top. "Hi, Nick. On the subject of bands, I've recently joined a reggae band." Come on, get it together. "Hi, Nick. On the subject of bands, I've recently..." I'll drop the "hi, Nick" part. Maybe that's what's putting me off. "On the subject of bands, I recently joined..." Oh, yeah, that was putting me off. I think I can do it without, if I just cancel the "hi, Nick" part. Do you mind if I don't say the "hi, Nick" part? On the subject of bands, I've recently joined a reggae band playing the triangle. Oh, now I've screwed it up because you've waited too long for the punchline. I'll do it later. Clive says, did you see four MPs Farage having a turn about President Macron telling the truth and giving actual facts about the disaster of Brexit during his state visit to the UK? Yeah, how's Brexit going, Nige?
Brexit's going great.
Glad to hear it. That's your Nigel Farage update on Brexit. Brexit's going great. And don't think otherwise even for a solitary second, because that would be unpatriotic. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on WhatsApp, say hi Nick on the same number as the phone, 0345 6060 973. Blimey, is that time already? It must be because the Earth is spinning faster.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Right, whatever.
0345 6060 973. This text says, Trump and his reaction to the Epstein files. Epstein files? What Epstein files? Stop talking about it. Yeah, he got all animated there for a moment. For a moment, it looked like he might wake up. We have huge numbers coming in. They're enormous and tremendous. Nobody ever saw such huge numbers. And you want to still talk about Epstein? I never met him. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. All of those pictures, that's fake news. Clive says, did you see... no, I've done that. Four MPs Farage. Hazel says, just listen to Jeff calling in about the similarities between this summer and the summer of 1976. Another parallel is the ladybird swarms we are having on the Essex coast at the moment. They also halted the cricket at Lord's yesterday. Did they? Ladybirds halted the cricket at Lord's. How? Why? They're just ladybirds. They halted the cricket. That's a bit weak, isn't it? I mean, is that real? Ladybird swarms halted the cricket. I mean, what kind of a sport is that it gets halted by a ladybird? Crying out loud. Vancouver. Hello, Nick.
Oh, hi, Nick. I had to ring up and comment about Live Aid because I had been in Canada for about a month and a half when that came on. It was when I first moved over here. And it was the day when I realised how different Canadians were culturally to me and Britons, because I spent the whole day having to explain who these bands were.
Really?
It was like constant. Yeah, Status Quo came on. Oh, who are they?
Oh,
That's
right.
Status Quo. They're huge in Britain.
Yes.
And Style Council come on. Who are Style Council? Well, that's the guy that used to be in the Jam. Who's the Jam? They didn't have a clue about any of them.
Who were you describing these bands to? Were you describing them to kids?
No, guys my age. I was I was 20, 22, 23.
Well, what do Canadians listen to? I mean, the Canadians had Joni Mitchell, they had Neil Young. I mean, what else do you need?
Yeah, when the big thing that got them excited was Bryan Adams, because he's from Vancouver, so it showed we were on the map.
Right.
And they recognised Queen, but most of my friends here literally didn't have a clue about any of the British bands. They occasionally would recognise a song, but they didn't, because this was before videos. So the only way you listened to music in those days was on the radio.
Yes.
So they couldn't recognise the faces of the bands.
And in the mid
recognise.
Yeah, in the mid 1980s, you would have I would imagine that Canadians would have listened to American radio stations. Right, the big stations from like Chicago and all that would have bled across the border, and that's what they'd have been listening to. And if I don't know anything about Canadian radio at all, but I would imagine that it sort of was very like American, like rock radio. And even in the mid 80s, I bet they were still playing Peter Frampton, Boston, REO Speedwagon, Journey, all that great stuff. What they would not have played,
Motley Crue,
right, all of that, the hair bands. What they would not have played is all that new British stuff, because, like you say, that came in when MTV started up, and all of those American bands, they didn't have videos. The only people who had videos were Buggles and Duran Duran, and then the Police, and the British bands sort of came on that video wave.
Yes, and when rock bands tried to make videos in the early days, and I still think today, they were terrible.
Yeah,
they were just
really
awful.
Yeah.
Hair metal videos were all the same. They'd be playing in this sort of pretend burnt-out sort of car park with a couple of strippers on each side dancing. That was basically every video out of California.
They'd be dancing on a car, yes. Which would always be a Dodge Charger or a Mustang or something like that.
Exactly. And it was hard to tell who was the stripper and who was the lead singer because the makeup and outfit was exactly the same.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, no, that was. I realised, oh, Dorothy, I'm not in Kansas anymore. when I had to explain who the Jam was to sort of who subsequently turned out to be my best mate, and then when the American sort of concert came on, which was in Philadelphia or New York or wherever it was.
Yeah, Philadelphia. Why Philadelphia, I wonder? Why there?
I have no clue, to be honest. But I can remember Ashford and Simpson played on that.
Really?
And again, I had to... they actually had some black people on it, which was astounding to me. and that was the other thing, which is all of my friends were Canadian. Ashford and Simpson are from North America, and they had even less clue as to who Ashford and Simpson were. That was a complete mystery. The idea that black people sang was completely unknown to my white friends in Canada. And funnily enough, it wasn't until about 15, 20 years later that the kids that I worked with started listening to rap music. And finally, I could sort of pull out my old 12-inch sort of Run DMC and Sugar Hill Gang records, and the kids go, "Oh, that's really cool."
Oh, Nick, you are so hip and with it.
I was a dad by then and owned a house. It was bizarre.
All right.
But no, Live Aid was a very, very strange day for me.
Yeah. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Nick. 0345 6060 973. I really can't remember anything about the American part of that day at all. I don't even remember Led Zeppelin playing. I can't remember what they actually played. Other than that, who was on the list from America? I don't know. I would have thought that it got coverage here. I mean, it was part of the day, right? Yeah, don't know. Or were there two concerts going on simultaneously, one in America and one here, and we only got the one that was on in Wembley on our telly? Don't know. It was about 160 years ago to the day, so it's no wonder that I can't remember. Crystal Palace, hello, Joe.
Hi, Nick. I've got two jokes for you first.
Joe, well, we don't...
I've got a question. Hold on, it's going to be two rare good jokes.
No.
Quick one.
Go, straight to the question.
Okay, right then. I want to ask a good question, and I think the whole of London is going to want to know the answer to this question. I can't, basically even ask who I need to be asking this question. But here we go, here's my question. And first of all, before I say this question, I just want to say thank you to St Thomas's Hospital, because, basically, you are the bomb, you are the Fort Knox, you are what the NHS are meant to be in this country. And I want to say, your rating, what you put up on your wall, 5-star rating, that's what you are. And I want to say to the whole of the NHS in the country, you need to be up to the standards what St Thomas's Hospital is, right next to the House of Parliament.
Right.
Now, my question is,
yes,
why is that hospital 5-star and then the rest of the country are not? Why? And why not? Why? Because when I say 5-star, you go inside that hospital, it's like the Pentagon. It's like Fort Knox. I'm talking. I'm being. It's like CSI. I'm being real. Like, you get your own room, your own shower, meals are first class, service are first class. It's like you're the queen or the king. The service you get in there, and you get seen there so fast.
But how do you know all of this?
Because I was there yesterday.
Right. Well, you were being treated,
and it was amazing. It was the best. I felt like I was royalty. I felt like I was like an MP. I'm being for real. But why? Why is it that service? Is it because it's across the road from the House of Parliament?
Well,
or is it to like serve our foreign visitors, like the MPs and things like that? Why is that hospital so 5-star?
I don't know, Joe. I mean, where did you get this 5-star thing from? You said you saw it on the wall.
Because on the wall it's got 5-star cleaning rating, 5-star, excellent. It is 5-star.
Right.
Like I'm telling you, it's like the Pentagon. It's like Fort Knox. You've never seen a hospital like it in your life.
But I'm not sure I'd want a hospital to be like Pentagon or Fort Knox, because that implies hang on a minute, that implies that you wouldn't be able to get in.
Exactly, because I'm talking about, look, your ward has got a security inside your wall so no one can't get in. Every 5 minutes there's a security sitting there so no one can even come in and do anything. And then like certain parts, when I say it's like the Pentagon, it's like all glass, like frames. You see people in their own private cupils, own shelves.
Well, that sounds like a private hospital.
No, it ain't a private hospital. It's just the normal hospital.
But some ordinary hospitals have private wings.
You've never seen a hospital like this before. You've never. You go there and go and visit and you tell me, am I right?
Well, I can't wait to get sick enough to go. You've really painted a beautiful picture of it, Joe, and I appreciate it. But it sounds like the private wing of an NHS hospital to me. That's what sounds like what you just described. But unfortunately, I'm not feeling very sick at the moment, so oh well. You know, life is full of little disappointments. But at least we were spared the jokes. Hazel said, no, just read about that, the ladybird swarm. The ladybirds, okay, here's the information. One moment, please. Ladybird swarm stops play at Lord's. Increased ladybird sightings across the UK are attributed by experts to high aphid populations and warm weather conditions. Yeah, they look kind of cute, ladybirds, but they eat aphids, which is a good thing, I think. A swarm of ladybirds briefly interrupted England versus India cricket test match at Lord's on Thursday, causing a pause in play. England's vice-captain Ollie Pope said that's a first that the... Oh, God, here we go. Already have an account? Log in or subscribe now. Try unlimited ad-free access for less than 35p a month with no commitment to continue. Do you accept cookies? No. God, that's really driving me nuts, that. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Ecologists, including but not limited to Professor Helen, confirmed that many aphid-feeding ladybird species are appearing in high numbers this year due to abundant food and heat. Well, that's a bit odd. How would ladybirds know to reproduce in large numbers if they only encountered the food after they'd been born? It's not an abundance of food that creates a large number of ladybirds in 1 year. I mean, like next year, yes. Experts like Professor Tim encourage the public to appreciate ladybirds, highlighting their crucial role as natural predators that control aphid populations. And many other things about ladybirds that have got nothing to do with the cricket. Still, at least we were spared a lot of dull details about cricket.
Boring!
Couldn't be more dull. So there you go. Now, you now know more than you did before. Happy?
Negative.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon.
Those are my strict rules. Di in Dagenham says, Nick, vertical farming gives 30 to 50 times more produce per acre and is being used in China and Israel and Spain. We must get it on. We must get on it. We must get it on. Like T-Rex. We must get on it ASAP. Great nutrient-fed stuff using recirculated water. I had no idea. Vertical farming. That's a new one on me. This says, betcha Trumpalumpa puts the tariff up on the UK now. Buckingham Palace is being refurbished, so no banquet. Parliament will be on hold. Yeah, but the thing with that guy is he doesn't know what he's going to do next, and neither does anybody else. So it's impossible to plan anything. Because he's going to wake up one morning and Melania will have been beastly to him the previous night.
I don't care.
That's what she said. Snuggles, Melania. She slammed the door on the way out. And then then he puts 100% tariffs on everybody on Earth. They've been very mean. So nobody can plan anything anymore because of this giant painted chump. No offence. Romer says, talking about the pop group Sweet that you mentioned earlier, I remember they used to regularly practice in Bernays Institute in Stanmore in Middlesex. And me and my old school friends used to watch them rehearse through the windows while we were on our bikes eating our sweets. Just a memory of the band Sweet. The thing I remember distinctly about them at the time was that all the players seemed to be really thin with very long hair. Around about 1972, I think. Yeah. Are you ready, Steve? Uh-huh. One of the greatest singles of all time. I'm absolutely convinced that that is true. And the man at the back said, everyone attack, and it turned into a ballroom blitz. You remember?
No.
Of course not. I bet if it was playing, you'd be singing along, though. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Cumbernauld. Andrew.
Hello again, Nick. How are you doing
Yes,
tonight?
Andrew. Very, very good, thanks.
Just a wee point on the ladybirds and aphids.
Yes.
I think it's a classic case of correlation rather than causation. The conditions that will allow the eggs to survive of one will allow the eggs to survive of the other.
Oh, that makes sense, yes.
So if you get lots of one, you'll get lots of the other.
Right.
The ladybirds will feed off the aphids and thrive, so you get hundreds and hundreds of them, and they'll cause disruption to the cricket.
So there is a good side to a ladybird. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
They'll put the nail in the coffin of the cricket. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now, just to give you an idea, my main point was to give you an idea of just how inflationary the sack of potatoes at a tenner in 1976 was. My first job was tatty picking in a field in the north of Scotland around 1980.
Yeah.
And the day's pay for an entire day picking tatties was £5.
That's what that's what you said. I was going to ask you to repeat what you said before, but I'm up to speed now. Picking tatties. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Now
were there any neeps by any chance?
No, just potatoes.
Right.
And the day's pay for back-breaking work was £5.
Blimey. You had to work a whole day to get a bag of taters.
Well, if it was £10 for a sack of potatoes in 1976.
2 days.
2 days of back-breaking work for a sack of potatoes. So you can imagine minimum wage now, 2 days' work on minimum wage now, if you figure that out for a sack of potatoes.
200 quid.
Yeah. That
more or
gives
less.
you an idea. Yeah, more or less. Give or take the odd £5 here or there.
Yeah.
That gives you an idea of just how expensive that was.
Or really, it gives you an idea of how cheap our food is. I mean, I know that might not sound right, but the inflation having put everything through the roof lately, but we do enjoy relatively cheap food in this country, even compared to our closest neighbours, who pay regularly more than we do at our supermarkets, partly because our supermarkets have been in a fight to the death for our purse, since the 1970s, really.
Yeah.
And with great success.
And apparently our food is even cheaper than the Americans.
Yeah, that is true.
We're more likely to get proper food here.
Yes.
And it's cheaper.
But let's not get carried away with the comparison, though, because the Americans earn about twice what we do for a similar job.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm hoping for continued good weather because it's not raining here.
In Cumbernauld, not raining?
No.
Well, it will be in a couple of days, Andrew, I can guarantee it.
Yeah, it's far too hot, but we can stay a little drier, so...
Yeah. Try not to complain about the heat. You've only got another 2 days of it.
Yeah, Cheers, Nick.
Right.
Thanks for that.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, it was like lightning. Everybody was frightening. And the music was soothing, and they all started grooving.
Groovy.
This text says, just to add to Jeff's conversation on 1976 record potato prices, ironically, the new number plate for the year was P for potato and had a record amount of new registrations in this year. Now, that could be complete nonsense, or it could be completely correct in every respect. I have got absolutely no idea. No way of checking. And even if there was a way of checking, I certainly wouldn't do it, because that sounds like homework to me. Rick in Dover says, 1976, I was living in a squat in King's Cross, and not only was the weather boiling, but in central London there was a bin strike. So fragrant. Oh, the smell of it.
Disgusting.
Wasn't that the year that they also had an undertaker's strike? Now, does my memory serve me correctly, but weren't there... It's probably not true. Weren't there piles of, dead bodies in the road? That was bin bags, wasn't it? People weren't dying and then being put out in bin bags, were they? I'm probably imagining that. Hartford. Hello, Pauline.
Hi, Nick.
Pauline.
Hi, Nick. I just wanted to query the man who said his water bills was €30 a month.
Yes.
I think that must be a load of rubbish, because I had a villa in Spain, in eastern Spain, in Javier, until about 4 years ago. Most of my water was desalinated, and my last bill, when I sold in August of that year, well, 4 years ago-ish, was €900.
A year?
No, for the month.
What?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I'm telling you. We did suffer from the odd leak in the garden, because we had, like a water system in the garden, water in the grass.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but every month it was €500 ish.
Now, you said desalinated. Now, I know that...
Desalinated water.
Right.
All of it, we had to have desalinated because there was no rainfall, so it was dry.
Yes.
I just wanted to put that right.
I know that desalinated water is enormously expensive because it takes a massive amount of power to desalinate it. I don't know why that is, but that's the fact,
I don't know where he gets his water from for €30 a month.
Yeah.
Because mine was, on average, about €500. And my last bill in August of, I think it was 2020, was €900.
But that doesn't sound affordable. I mean, people in Spain don't earn that much money.
That's why I had to phone you, because I just needed to tell you that is rubbish. €30 a month is rubbish.
It sounds like you were being ripped off.
Well, I don't know that there was another company that we could go to, because that was the water company that for the area. I can't remember exactly what the name was. I'm just looking
it up. The average monthly water bill in Spain typically ranges from 20 to 50 euros a month.
Rubbish. It's rubbish.
Well, this is artificial intelligence.
Affirmative.
That's a robot telling us that.
Telling you, I had a pool.
Yes. Right.
I did have a pool, and that had a lovely pool.
Yeah.
No. Honestly.
Well, I'm looking up other sites. Monthly bill. A typical family can expect to pay between 18 and 35 euros per month.
Rubbish. Rubbish. I'm sorry.
I'm looking it up on the internet. Cost of living in Spain versus the UK, 2023. Okay, this is a couple of years ago, but it won't have changed that much. The average monthly water bill in Spain is around 40 to 60 euros.
Well, the electricity was more expensive than here.
What do people do in Spain to be able to afford these bills?
Well, a lot of people have sold up in Spain, have come back.
They've come back, yeah. Utility costs and supplies in Spain. Malaga ranks 28th on the list with an average annual water bill of 288 euros. I think that you've been done, Pauline. They saw you coming. £900 a month.
€900. Oh, not pounds, euros.
Euro? Why euros, pounds? It don't make no. Never mind. Do it. I mean, were you running a water park like for like a Disneyland style water park?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for the bad news, Pauline. You believe that? No. No, I can't. £900 a month. No one's water is that much. Even the bloke who used to run the government.
This government.
That government. Even his bill isn't that much. Still not missing you, Fishy, by the way, in case you were wondering. I mean, months go by, we forget that you even existed. But we'll know where to find you if we do miss you. You'll be with David Cameron in the shed where they keep the tools.
I think this is nonsense.
0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello. Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Paul in Manchester says, hi Nick, I put my hand out of the window this afternoon and it burst into flames. People need to be careful out there. Yes. Need to be very, very careful. Don't exert yourself. Take water everywhere. And cool yourself down by putting water on your forearms. That's what I've been doing today. You do it and you feel cold for, not cold exactly, but cool. Cools you right down for about 10 minutes and then you get all sweaty and clammy again. But I'm not complaining.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Donald says, do you consider Led Zeppelin's performance at Live Aid an anticlimax because they didn't feature? They did feature. They were there. They weren't very good, but they were there. In fact, they were so bad that I think they banned all repetition of that concert. Now, that might be why you think they weren't there, because they did not appear in the in any subsequent videos. Because they were just, they were unprepared and under-rehearsed, and his voice wasn't very good, and so on. If you want to see him really, take the roof off, then that celebration video is still available on an internet near you. You'll love it. If you haven't seen it, it's just great. That's the one where they came back and in celebration of, I think, Abbot, the guy who did used to run, was it Columbia Records? Something like that. Just marvellous. And it looked like they were having so much fun as well. 0345 6060 973. Bath. Hello, Laura.
Hi, Nick Abbott.
Laura.
How are you doing?
I'm great, mate.
Did you know that Donald Trump's in the UK at the moment?
No.
Well, it was the strangest thing. I've been on a surgical rotation this week. I'm at vet school, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And the cleaning agent we use to prepare the surgical site is like very orange in colour. And when I tell you that the surgical site we were preparing was a dog's anus.
Oh.
I could explain to you why Donald Trump was in the room, and I can't figure out why. Maybe it was a trick of the light. I don't know. Trick of
the light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you told me all about it.
Can I make a case for Dire Straits against Pink Floyd again? In what parameter would you make them the winner?
All parameters, every single one of them.
Dire Straits?
No.
They'd beat Pink Floyd in a fight, though. Pink Floyd look like they might have some of them look like they have like a vitamin D deficiency or something. So I think Dire Straits would have a bet. I think Dire Straits, would they win in a fight? Go on, give them that.
Is this really how we're rating musical outfits now? which ones can punch the others out?
I can't get over I've given them both a good try, and just Dire Straits for me comes out on top every time, and I'm trying to understand your thought process.
Yes, you just have to accept that what you just said makes you a very shallow person. I mean, there's nothing bad about that. It's just who you are. Embrace it, Laura.
Well, people say that music is is subjective. It's all about taste, but I disagree. I think that some bands are just fundamentally better than others.
Well, it is about taste, and unfortunately, you don't have any. I'm trying to help.
So, I appreciate it. So have you had a good week? Even though I always say that the country is cooked, but actually we are actually cooking at the moment.
It's I don't know. I feel like I want to take a little break from the news, and during the week I haven't been paying that much attention. I mean, every day I sort of go through the headlines, but I haven't been sort of subsumed in it. I haven't sort of dipped my entire person in the great swirling eddy of misery that is going on all about us, and I feel a little bit guilty about that, but then sort of not really, because why would my knowing the gruesome details of this and that actually affect the outcome in any way, shape or form? I could just check out of the entire thing during the week and then come back to dip in the misery on a Friday.
Well, I love your tactic. You're getting all giddy this evening. It's very entertaining, and getting all bent out of shape about the most unimportant things like potatoes and music in 1976.
Yes.
That reminds me, Bryan Adams, who I believe would be your age or maybe a little bit older, one thing that's always annoyed me, and I'm a big fan of Bryan Adams. Are you a big fan of Bryan Adams, Nick?
Well, I don't know about fan is a heavy word. I like a lot of his stuff. Yes.
Yes. The Summer of '69 is his big one, but he would have been like 9 in the Summer of '69, and that's always irritated me because. But if you listen to the lyrics of the song...
Yeah, he was in a band, yeah.
Yeah, Jodie got married and that. And I'm like, hey, what are you talking about? You were 9. It's one of those things that's always irks me. And I like that we're focusing on this as opposed to, like, actual issues going on. Yeah.
Well, I came armed with no end of stories about, politics and misery and all of that stuff. But this show has been swiped out from underneath me. And suddenly we're talking about blooming Dire Straits, for crying out loud.
Well, I'll finish by saying I think you look very handsome in your LBC profile picture.
Yeah, that's not me.
That would be why it looks so handsome.
Yeah, that's just a picture that came with a frame. We bought it in a charity shop. All right, thanks a lot, Laura. 0345 6060 973. Enzo in Huddersfield said Live Aid started at 12 noon. Queen came on at 6:41. The crowd were flagging, but their 21-minute set was genius and transformed the mood. I don't remember it like that at all. I thought that they came on right after... Apparently not. Dave in Plymouth says, Nick, I have a big gap in my awareness of Live Aid. I wasn't in the Navy at the time and wasn't in the Arctic Circle eavesdropping on the Soviet Union. Definitely not. I remember seeing a news printout that mentioned a charity concert. When I returned home, everyone thought I was strange because I knew nothing of Live Aid. Says Dave in Plymouth, who wasn't in the Navy at the time and definitely wasn't in the Arctic Circle eavesdropping on the Soviet Union. Why would anybody think that? And this text says it's the moon's gravitational force that is speeding up the planet. Well, somebody should look into that whole moon situation very strongly. But what if it did speed up? I mean, there's absolutely nothing we could do about it, and Bruce Willis is uncontactable. He's hung his vest up. Let's see now. Who's been waiting the longest? To be totally fair about this. Hemant in Leicester.
Hey, Nick.
Hemant.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
It's so good, as Laura said, you're on top form, so I thought I'd call in just to enjoy this wonderful day.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, I want to talk about Band-Aid. It was the best show on earth for me.
Live Aid?
Correct. Yeah. Sorry. And it was so good that I watched after the 10 o'clock, I watched most of it in America, where Phil Collins...
Yes.
Went on Concord.
He did.
And did the same act there.
Did he do this? He did a song here, and then he went and did the same song in America? Was it?
Yes.
Which one was
Yes.
it? It was like In the Air Tonight or something like that?
Yes, something like that, yes. Can't give you the thing, but it was the same one.
And then he did drumming for Led Zeppelin, which was terrible, apparently. I don't recall seeing that. I'm not sure I saw any of the American side at all. I don't recall anything from America.
I waited to hear Madonna.
She was on it, was she?
Yes, she was giving it. And apparently she came on these adult magazines at one time, and someone shouted, "Go for it, take it all off." And she didn't.
Right.
So, but it was brilliant. And the best finale was in the UK one when Paul McCartney came on. His microphone didn't work.
Yeah, that must have been. I mean, for all of the acts, the last one they screwed up. The engineers. I mean, come on, guys! It's a blooming microphone. Get it sorted.
I'm surprised Bob Geldof didn't come on there and go, and just say, "Take this and start again." But it was start the show again
from the top. Yeah,
from the top. But it was brilliant. It was a good day. I remember that, and it was your memory was very good because it was very hot that day.
Yeah. I remember all the doors and the windows were open, and I was coming in and out of the garden, because there were some acts that I wasn't really very interested in seeing, and there was a lot of talking, and there was a lot of films that that affected you if you saw them once and you never wanted to see again, that kind of thing. That's when I would leave the room.
And that song that kept on coming,
Drive.
That's the one. And
weird that they chose that song. I mean, what are the lyrics of Drive? Because I'll have to look that up, because I don't think it was relevant, was it? Drive by the Cars.
Yes, the Cars. Plus, I don't know if you've been watching, they've been showing documentaries at the moment.
Yeah, no, I've missed them, but that's the kind of thing you'll be able to catch up on, right?
Yes, it is. But it's worth watching because it's hilarious of how it is. I don't want to do the spoiler alert,
right,
but I think people should watch it.
Okay.
In my opinion, it's really good fun.
I'll consider it not homework, but just something to do at home. I'll talk myself into it. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Hemant. Who's going to tell you when it's too late? Who's going to tell you things aren't so great? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong, but now who's going to drive you home tonight? Okay, so far, it is relevant, apart from the driving part. Who's going to pick you up when you fall? Who's going to hang it up when you call? Who's going to pay attention to your dreams? Who's going to plug their ears when you scream? Yeah, okay, it is relevant. Apart from the driving part. I wonder what they felt like, the band, the Cars, when that song was chosen and put on that video. God, I can still see images of that video today. I haven't seen it since that day. God.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, boys.
This text says, it sounds like the Earth should do us a favour and put us out of our misery and just come to a grinding stop instead of going faster. Can you imagine that? There'd be one side of the Earth that is continually baked by the sun and the other side that would be perpetually freezing cold and in darkness. That wouldn't be a very happy place to be, would it? Do you think that it's really quite extraordinary how, I mean, of course it's obvious that we have grown up around the way the world is and we have evolved to be able to live here. But it's pretty perfect, isn't it? This place here, and it might do us all a favour if we stop trying to ruin it so very comprehensively. Because there ain't nothing like this. Mars, please. Anybody want to go live on Mars? You'd have to be off your chump. No, here. And don't you find that it's rather suspicious that the moon is just big enough and just far enough away that it completely fits over very precisely the whole of the sun, so precisely that there's that, they call it is it the diamond ring or something like that? It's just the tiniest flash of the sunlight that comes through I guess it's like a dimple on the moon's surface. Other than that, it would cover it completely. Don't you find that's a little odd? That the moon is just precisely big enough and just precisely far enough away to completely, but no more, cover the sun during an eclipse. Somebody should look into that very strongly. Susan in Glasgow says, the worst part of Live Aid for me was David Bowie and Mick Jagger doing that Dancing in the Street video. Yeah, me too. Terrible. I think I recall you saying your thought was a load of rubbish too. Yeah, yes, it was awful. David Bowie, I mean, he did some really terrible duos. The one with Stevie Wonder that was Paul McCartney, wasn't it? But I think the only duo that I think that Bowie did that was really good was with Bing Crosby. And they never met, apparently. I don't know what Bing would have thought of David. One of those freaks. Let's see now. West Midlands. Hello, Ranjit.
Hey, Nick, you all right?
Yes, good, thanks.
Right, pop music isn't my forte, and I stand corrected, but I think that the video with Mick Jagger and David Bowie was made in two different countries. That Mick Jagger was in America and David Bowie was in England.
No. I think you're thinking of David Bowie and Bing Crosby.
No. I'm sure somebody will correct me. You know what I mean?
No, they were dancing. They were dancing down the same abandoned street. They were in the same place at the same time. And my only claim to fame is that Mick Jagger was wearing a pair of trousers that I had bought the exact same pair about a week before they did that video. No, it wasn't Jagger. It was Bowie. Bowie was wearing it, or was it Jagger? No, it was Jagger. Purple. They were like purple Catherine Hamlet sort of baggy Hammer Time trousers.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then, going on to what Jeff has said, right? Obviously I run a fish and chip shop, yeah. I mean, I was listening to him, I was still in the shop, and we've had a terrible couple of weeks because of the hot weather.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And the picture he's painting, right, I think I was going to call the Samaritans the way he's going on. I mean, if they were £10 a bag of potatoes in 1976, I mean, a couple of years ago we had a real bad season. Ours went up to about £28. So I don't know how the people must have survived in 1976.
Yeah, the equivalent would have been about £200. We've worked out £200. I mean, that would make. How much would a bag of chips then be if you're...
You can forget it, mate. I think we'd be better off, right, just locking the shop and just stopping at home and not going there.
You just put a sign on the wall saying, you take all the prices down, and it say, if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah, I say I got a mortgage advisor if you need one on site, if you want to buy a bag of chips.
So when the heat goes up, your business goes down?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Look, even I didn't feel hungry today. You know what?
Right.
Nobody comes out when it's hot. He's going to have... All they want to eat is salads, and that you lose your appetite anyway.
But what you really don't want to do is cook. I would have thought that your business would increase with because people come home and they're just exhausted in their car. Oh, I can't cook. Let's just go to the chippy.
They do want to do that, but people lose their appetite, Nick. You don't feel hungry. It's more liquids than that. And then the other thing, 2 stories about Donald Trump. Is he going to deport his wife and his in-laws, right?
No.
Because they were illegal immigrants, weren't they, at the start?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, they weren't. They were. If they weren't personally related to him, then ICE would be banging their door down.
I know. And then the dinglings are saying, oh, well, he's leader of the free world. But the thing is, at the end of the day, if you want to go to America, you can have a golden visa anyway, so I would just give him a golden visa. So it's quite rubbish, to be honest with you. And the other thing is now, I think that King Charles is not happy about Donald Trump coming over and, constitutionally, he can't do anything about it.
No,
right?
But that's the job. I mean, the monarchy chit-chats to some of the world's worst people for a living.
But the thing is now, right, like in that Planes, Trains and Automobiles, the movie, right, John Candy, he just kept on appearing everywhere. I think that's what's going to happen to Donald Trump. He's saying to him, listen, you can come to my house, but there's no one going to be at home. I'm having it all renovated, right? You could have stopped at Windsor Castle, but your security firm are saying, well, you can't really stop there. I'm not going to really be able to do any cooking because my cooker's broke. Do you still want to come over?
Yeah,
right?
I bet Charles doesn't know where where one of his kitchens is, let alone do the cooking.
I know. It's just a figure of speech, yeah. Right. But the thing is, it's like, when they say, "Oh, I'm having a small party," Nick, you're welcome to come. But
thanks. I'm busy.
Yeah. That's what's happening to him. He's having, you know what? I personally would love to be a fly on the wall, right? When the Prime Minister is speaking to the King, on a 1-to-1, and what kind of language they use when he's saying, "Well, I'm going to bring Donald Trump over."
Yeah. But, I mean, he would have been among the least awful people that Charles will have met in any year. I mean, it's just a parade of the world's most hideous types who are, sort of wash up at the palace doors, and he has to do his, all that routine, and that's what they do for money. The royal family.
I mean, some of these videos that are coming out about Donald Trump and that, and I'm thinking, is this a real video? Or is this artificial intelligence being made up? Yeah, like some of the ones where they show he's making these speeches and he's got bodily functions going on. Everybody's holding their nose. And I'm thinking, you know what? I've never really seen them on the news.
No, I wouldn't think so. Yeah, no, I've never seen those.
Fiction?
Yeah, I would imagine it was. Well, I would imagine the video is fiction, but whether he does have a problem, I mean, you keep hearing about it. But I don't know whether that's fiction or not.
Now, isn't he? He might have flatulence problems at that age, right?
I think I've read it's worse than that, but let's not get into it though.
No. But the thing is, like I say, when these memoirs, people write the memoirs, 50 years later or whatever. I wish I could have a look into them now on what's being said and that.
Well, you could range it, but then they'd have to kill you.
No, the thing is, if Nigel Farage does actually become Prime Minister, people like me, you and James O'Brien, mate, we've had it. I'm telling you, at least there's a hit list out there. Because
James O'Brien, yes. You almost certainly range it. Hopefully, I'm flying under the radar and no one's ever heard of me. I've got my fingers crossed.
No, you listen, don't fly anywhere. Don't even catch a bus, right? Because listen, just walk everywhere, right?
I'm not sure that's the safest method of transportation, walking.
Walk everywhere, right? And the other thing is, your fan club, it's collecting more and more members on Facebook, right?
Is it? I keep forgetting that Facebook exists. I keep meaning to look into Facebook because there's some people who only know me on Facebook, but I've just become very disengaged with social media, really. I think it's such a time suck. It just really drains hours out of the day, doesn't it? Social media. There's nothing social about it. And it seems to be getting worse. I mean, I open the thing up in the morning, and by lunchtime, I find I've done nothing but just gawp at Twitter, X, as it's known now.
I'm not on any other media other than WhatsApp and Facebook, yeah?
Right.
And I got invited to join your fan club, right? And I tell you what, it's real people, it's your real callers, and it's your real listeners. It ain't nobody from abroad or anything like that. No, it's actually reality of what people are saying.
They're not anonymous Russian bots with 3 followers and an official blue tick, because there's lots of that on Twitter.
Yeah, somebody goes to me, if I DM him, yeah, you know, he's going to do something for me, and I don't know what DMing. I asked my brother, he goes, that's direct message. I said, I don't know how to do it. Right. And you know Hemant, right, who phoned from Leicester, he's been to my shop to visit me. So all these people we can relate to. So really, you ought to have a little butcher's at it one of the mornings that you have 10, 15 minutes, and you'll be glued to it for a couple of hours.
I think it's probably a bad idea to look up yourself on the internet. No, it's going to be a no from me.
I agree with you, because you should never fish for a compliment, but there's loads of compliments there for you. You know, once you start fishing, I mean, Donald Trump is always fishing for a compliment, isn't he? When he has a meeting in that big table. Oh yeah. Nick,
so you're suggesting I be more like Donald Trump?
No, mate, no, you're far from it, mate. You're totally, you're a, you know, we're all praising you that you're a good human being. You know, when he was pointing around on the table, he says, "What do you think?" Oh well, Donald, you've done really, really good. You've done really great. And even Keir Starmer's calling him Donald. Call him Mr. President, that's his title, and he should call him Prime Minister.
Yeah, and if he ever drops some papers on the floor again, let him pick them up. Exactly right, yeah. Ranjit, I've got to go, but thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
No, on this or any other subject. This text says, Bob Geldof did not say, give us the bleeping money, it's a Mandela effect. And I had to look up what Mandela effect was. And it is as follows. One moment. Oh, no. Now my phone is responding to me speaking, and it's gone off on a little trip of its own. One moment, please. Here we go. The Mandela effect refers to a phenomenon where a large group of people collectively misremember something, often a specific fact, event or detail, as if it were a reality. Bob Geldof did say, give us your bleeping money. That wasn't a mass hallucination on the part of the people of this country. He did actually say that, didn't he? He said, never mind about the phone number. I don't know why I just went into the accent. Not even close. Just give us your bleeping money. Something like that. Mandela effect, my eye. Bodmin. Hello, Malcolm.
Good evening, Nick.
Yes, Malcolm. Do you remember Bob Geldof saying, give us your bleeping money?
Yes, I'm in that camp. He swore the question. Which, you know, on the day, nobody batted an eyelid, did they really?
Well, the people in the studio had a major cow.
Talking of money, I made a couple of bullet points that I wanted to raise you, and one I saw was that the Bank of England is monitoring cash spending.
Monitoring cash spending?
Yeah, that people are buying with cash as opposed to, you know, only the card.
How are they doing that?
Well, I suppose they're asking the retailers questions.
Right.
To the Institute of, what's it called? The Office of, Jesus. What's the statistics organisation?
The what?
The stats. The stats of people impotent.
Oh, the stats people. Right. The office for office for stats.
Yeah, I reckon they'll be doing it. But that's interesting because I don't remember the last time I drew money out of a cash point.
I think it's very important. I think this is very important. I'm going to be perfectly serious now. Now, don't take my word for it, because I don't know what I'm talking about on this or any other subject. But
I know.
What? But I do believe it is important that you have a certain amount of cash, just like you should have a certain amount of water about the house in, those big bottles. For the first time ever, I bought myself one of those big, giant, like how to describe it really? It's like a bottle on steroids of water, massive amount.
Well,
which came in at a very, very low price. I was really quite surprised at how low it is for something that is so vital. And you just keep it in the cupboard, and you might not need it, and it might, the date may expire. But if you do need it, then it'll be you'll be very, very glad that you actually got it. And if you don't have it, you'll be ruining the day you didn't buy some.
Well, I mean, a very quick thought came into my head as you were saying that. And it's that these preppers, people who are the waiters at the end of the world.
And you think they're nuts. But they may be the smartest people on earth.
Yeah, but the best thing they could stash would be dosh. Because that is going to be very, very important. Because, if you want a can of beans or maybe a pint of milk or something, then your guns aren't going to save your life, are they? Maybe it will.
Well, maybe it will, yes.
But you're going to need £1 cash.
Right.
Because the people selling are going to say, no, I don't take...
I don't take guns, no.
I don't take crypto, like the advert on the TV.
Yes.
And the guy wanted to buy the spuds.
No, but it's not inconceivable to me that at least locally, or at least with the credit card that you have, it will become difficult at some point to pay with that device, because either the entirety of the internet will go out, in which case there'll be anarchy in the streets in about 2 minutes, or your particular card won't work in your particular area. I mean, that's a reasonable thing to expect to happen, right? At which point you will need cash. Even though, like me, I can't remember the last time I left the house with cash, but I keep meaning to, stash a bit of it away just in case.
I mean, you're right. The first thing foreign hostile states are going to go for is your traffic lights and your banking system.
Right.
They're going to hack those two systems. But did you see the arrest yesterday of the 4 people aged between 17 and 20 for the Co-op and Marks and Spencer's, the hacking, and there's the world saying, "Oh, this has to be a hostile state," and it literally was 4 kids in their bedroom,
right?
Who brought the Co-op, Marks and Spencer's, and others virtually to their knees.
Yes. Well, there's that. And that will undoubtedly increase. I mean, artificial intelligence will be put to its worst possible use, no doubt, because that's just human beings, and it will be able to, crack the most secure systems. I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, just to interject on that thought about credit cards, is, do you remember when Russia first invaded Ukraine, and the banking systems made it difficult for people in Russia to use a credit card to buy something outside of Russia, and vice versa. People outside Russia couldn't use their credit card to buy something that was inside Russia. So that wasn't governments turning your method, your ability to pay for things off. That was a company. Private companies can remove your ability to pay for stuff.
Governments have less power nowadays than we think. Honestly, they really do. But the actual reason you sidetracked me there, like you bushwhacked me. The actual reason I phoned Nick was to say that I think it's been a really good common sense week personally, because I haven't heard Farage. I've hardly heard Badenoch, and we've had Macron and Starmer absolutely set the stage, and the two of them talking an awful lot of sense. Brexit got a hammer in, and I barely hear the whisper in response, because I think that people are becoming ever so slightly fearful of defending Brexit, I think.
Well, it's just a ridiculous thing to even contemplate trying. I mean, the architects of Brexit won't try to defend Brexit. They try to change the subject every time it comes up. And you've spent the entire week avoiding watching anything to do with Nigel Farage. Well, that's pretty good going, because he's been absolutely everywhere, by which I mean wherever you'll see a small boat. There he is, pointing them out for us.
There's a bad enough story. Okay, there's got number 50 when you scroll down on Apple News. The bad enough story hitting out at Macron blaming increased migrant crossings on Brexit. So that's it. That's all I can find, because I thought, it struck me how, the response to Macron, because I can understand Macron would get on a lot of people's pips, because...
Well, he's French, for a start.
I wouldn't say that myself, but you just did. But
I mean, I'm not saying that he annoys me, but, people in this country, they seem to have a dislike for the French. Just like any neighbouring country, those are the people that are nearest to you, so those are the ones that you had a lot of time to find something to dislike about.
Yeah, but no, it was really good. A good 3 days, I thought, for Britain. And I think for Starmer, in fairness, because I think Starmer is he's starting to take slack for the people under him now. I think it's starting to hit home with the nation. He does have a few duds, which I was saying, weeks before the election.
Well, I wonder if the reality of the job has taken him somewhat by surprise. That it's not anything like being in opposition, and it's just particularly being on the regardless of whether you think or where you think they are on the left-right spectrum, they are on the left as far as the right-wing press are concerned. And so the second he came into power, they were going to level their cannons at him and just start blasting away on a daily basis, again and again, regardless of what he did. They were always going to find something, the angle to beat him up with that was, picking holes in everything that he's doing. So I guess it's a quick learn as far as the reality of the job is concerned, and maybe he's going to pull it together. I don't know. He's got a lot of work to do.
And then the other really striking thing in closing, which I find, again, absolutely stomach-turning, is that tragedy of the floods in America. Not to bring it down to the show.
Right.
But I don't want to go into the detail, but you've got Trump all over the TV just singing the praises of the services that clearly failed in that absolute disaster. And Trump is just... He's on the site this evening, and it's just, haven't we done fantastic? And aren't the people, your local people, my God, they're so good. And the opposite, Nick, it seems to me, looking at the coverage, the opposite is true.
He's just trying to deflect any attention from him and Elon Musk gutting the weather services, which must have had an effect on their ability to predict and warn. And also the local people, as far as I'm aware, in Texas, in that area, they were offered money to boost their warning systems by Barack Obama, but they didn't want it because, it's Barack Obama, so they didn't want any of that brown man's money. And then Joe Biden offered the same place the same amount of money for the same thing to improve their warning systems, and they didn't want to take it from Joe Biden because that's communism, that is. And so then they're like, oh well, this is just God's will.
No, the governor messed up big time. The night before last, when he said he's asked a question, and he said that of the media person who asked it, said, that's the question of a loser. and you're thinking, my God, this bloke. And Trump is praising this guy up, And because the guy said what went wrong, basically. Yeah. And the governor of the state said, well, that's the question of a loser. Oh, it was awful, Nick. Anyway, on that happy note, Nick.
Yes, all right. Thanks a lot, Malcolm. 0345 6060 973. As far as the rotation of the Earth is speeding up is concerned, this text says something to do with the magnetic poles switching over. That will also increase earthquakes, I read, and even volcano eruptions. Plus, the Earth's inner core is another planet that slammed into us billions of years ago. Wow. This really is an educational program, no?
No.
This says they gave the reason for the increased speed of the Earth. Meghan Markle. No! Thanks a lot, Meghan Markle. You see what you've done? We can barely cling on that the Earth is sped up so much. And Kevin in Notting Hill says, if the Earth spins fast enough for weightlessness to occur, a lot of the new weight loss jab companies would completely go out of business. Yeah, well, it would also mean the end of all life on Earth, but let's concentrate on their share price. Chingford. Hello, Tony.
Hiya.
Tony.
Hello, how you doing?
Yes, good, thanks.
Oh, yeah, just a quick clarifier about Bob Geldof.
Yes.
He was up in the studio on Band-Aid Day, and they were doing a roundup, and the presenter was starting to say the numbers for the credit cards, and then Bob Geldof says, forget the bleeping credit card, just give us your money.
Yes, that's right. That's what I remember, yeah.
Yeah, that is exactly what he said. And also, Alison Moyet was the best thing about Band-Aid, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't even remember she was there.
Yeah, she came on halfway through Paul Young's set, and the difference in quality of her voice and the strength of her voice to Paul Young was an eye-opener to me. I always liked her anyway, but I listened to her recently, actually, and she's got an amazing voice. She always has that. I wonder whether she's still gigging. I don't know anything. But, yeah, she was a big... Oh, and also, finally, a book called Demon, which might interest you. It's about an AI that actually stole all corporation money. So that might figure up a bit about the future of AI.
It's a thief.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's
the corporation's money.
Right, I'm not sure that's an improvement, but I guess it depends which corporation. Okay, I'll stick it on my reading list, Tony. That is a list of 0. So it's gone right to the top by dint of it being the only one on there. Appreciate the swerve. Thanks a lot, Tony.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. Helen in Hartford says, did you hear about Benjamin Netanyahu nominating Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize? What's going on? Says Helen. Yeah, what is going on? It's nothing good, that's for sure. And Trump received it and looked over it. I don't believe... can he actually read? I mean, I guess he can. He didn't look like he was reading it to me. This is very nice. And he said it's so special coming from you. This says, Angela Rayner being kicked out of Unite because she used the wrong bin for her recycling and didn't use compostable bags for her food waste. Yeah, I'm going to say something controversial now.
Oh, no.
I've stopped using a separate bag for my food waste. There, I've said it. Because the problem is, the food waste bag sticks around for a while because it takes quite a long time to fill it up, right? And the amount of flies that it attracts, particularly in this heat, is just too much. Every time you open your bin, this cloud of flies are released into the air, and it stinks as well. So I've gone back to, and this is probably going to put me on a list, I've gone back to putting the food in the ordinary bag and then disposing of that as necessary. And I think in my street, I was the only one that was actually still using a separate food waste bin. No one else does, I think for the exact same reason. It stinks too much. They only collect it like once, not often enough. It's either once a week or once every 2 weeks. For food waste in this kind of heat, it's just a fly magnet. Awful. So it's all going in the big bag. I'm sorry, but there it is. The planet is ruined, and it's all my fault. I apologise.
I am very sorry that I screwed up totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
Very apologetic. Alan in Reigate says, Nick, we could have a 2% wealth tax as proposed by the Patriotic Millionaires Group, a 2% windfall tax on oil companies, energy companies and banks, and a 0.01% tax on all financial transactions in the UK, banking and finance and trading systems. All of these would raise in excess of £350 billion per annum and totally resolve all UK economic woes. Yeah, no doubt. But we can't have that because the 0.00001% who could afford it don't want to pay. So that's that then. It is extraordinary, isn't it? None of those people would actually miss it. The oil companies would certainly not miss it. In fact, they get more in tax credits than they pay in tax, as far as I'm aware. We pay them, the oil companies, more to conduct their business than they pay us back in tax. The energy companies wouldn't miss it. The banks most certainly would not miss it. And the financial finagling racket wouldn't miss 0.01% tax on all of the financial transactions. But then the super rich are clutching their pearls and saying, oh, right, well, that's it, we're leaving. Well, they shouldn't be allowed to leave. It's absolutely outrageous that we allow them to just leave. There should be an exit tax. Let's say 60% of all that you're worth. You still want to go? I mean, it's just staggering to me. These patriotic millionaires, and good for them, they're saying that we should be taxed more. Say you're a billionaire. That means you have £1,000 million. Think of £1 million and now multiply it by 1,000. That's how much money they've got. And if they were taxed at 2%, above £10 million, then 2% of £1,000 million is, and I'm going to do mental arithmetic on the radio.
Oh, no.
2% of 1,000 million is 20, right? Have I got that right? So £20 million would be the tax, which sounds like a lot of money. But you get your first 10 million free. So it's only on the things on your wealth above 10 million. So it goes from 20 million tax to 10 million. Now, that's still a big number, but it would leave you with £990 million. Think of £1 million, and now think of that multiplied by 990 times. What can you buy with 1,000 million that you can't buy with 990 million? What? How would your lifestyle be in any way different with 990 million pounds to your name as opposed to 1,000 million? What would be different? How would you notice? If you had 10 lifetimes, you would not be able to get through that amount of money. So just let's do it. And all of the people in the world should do it. There should not be a place in which you could take that money and protect it from the tax person. There should not exist. I mean, it's not inconceivable that that is a doable proposition, because it seems like there's certain individuals, and they're very, very, very small in number. They have declared war on the rest of us. They just drain money out of the country, and they don't use it for anything, because how could you use that amount of money? Why would they bother? It just sits on a computer screen, increasing by small amounts, but a small amount of a percentage on 1,000 million is a large amount. So they don't do anything with it. It just sits there. They're not wealth creators, they're wealth hoarders. That's the problem. And they hoard it in an empty building in an otherwise barely populated island in the middle of nowhere, the Caribbean. An island that's got the Union Jack fluttering from atop its government buildings. Well, those, especially, we should be able to do something about. But we don't, because a few people are making a lot of money allowing that to continue, to the detriment of the entire human race. This is like a test. Can we pass this test? It's like a maze that we've been placed into, like a rat in a lab. Can we get to the end of the maze and avail ourselves of a delicious treat at the end of it? And the delicious treat for a rat would be, a little bit of meat or a bit of cheese. And for us, it would be hospitals that are like that bloke earlier on this show described. It was like Fort Knox, he said. I'm not sure that's a very good comparison for a hospital, but it was so beautiful it makes you want to be ill to go there. Schools that are fully funded and functioning. Roads that never have a pothole. I mean, you could go on and on. Double the amount of police persons who are actually doing proper police person stuff and not arresting people for flying the wrong flag, for crying out loud. Everything would be better. And the people that would be taxed 2% would not notice it. That's the thing that fries my mind. We're protecting these people whose lives would not be changed one iota, not even a tiny bit. Because I ask again, what could you buy with 1,000 million that you couldn't buy with 990 million? Nothing. But, that's not going to happen because I've got no idea. Maybe in the future people will look back at this era and think, what were they thinking? 8 billion people being held to ransom by about 5,000 people who have got all of the world's wealth. And finally, back to that joke right at the beginning of the show. Hi, Nick. On the subject of bands, I recently joined a reggae band playing the triangle. I just stand at the back and ting.